Hey, salute to everybody that's joining me tonight. This is one of my first nighttime streams, but I want to get back into the content because I think what I see a lot, many times in these men's spaces, is a complete misunderstanding about dating relationships and especially women and especially female nature. This idea that somewhere in the world, somehow, there's a different species of women on another continent or another area on this globe that goes against all human programming, what we are, what our nature are is as men and women or as human beings. And that can be a problem, especially when you talk about men's spaces and you're dealing with grifters out here that like to sell a dream. Many of these guys have dating courses, pickup courses, and their livelihood depends on YouTube, completely on YouTube. I am a retired guy. I don't have any courses to sell you. I don't have any pickup game to sell you. I don't have any rubbish to sell you in Patreon. I don't have any videos to sell you of 304s at bars or women, promises of dreams and hopes of traditional women in other places outside of America or anywhere else. I have no hope to sell you. And the best quote I have is by Thomas Sowell. There are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And it's good that men understand that there's no utopia on planet. Female nature is global. What's different is culture. Culture is different. What's different is the absence of government empowerment. What's different is accountability. What's different is rules, culture, the state, the institutions, the family, the community may require a different level of accountability and moral structure. But that even nowadays is being manipulated, especially by TikTok and other social media platforms, because we want to keep women spending. The CCP is big at that. We want to create a consumer economy. So that's why what's what props up feminism, that which props up women's independence. That's what props up all these types of indoctrinations that go into women's brain, even in men's brain. But this idea that there's some utopia somewhere on the globe that you can just go, one way, go somewhere, not be the best version of yourself as a man, not put the work in, and all of a sudden you're going to be, uh, you know, Chad awesome. You haven't put any work into yourself. You haven't really leveled up for any type of financial freedom, any type of good physical health, any type of mental development as a man, and you're going to go somewhere in some utopia and you're going to deal with a different breed of women that's going to accept you or any mediocrity that you bring to the table, or you're going to get an escape the modern woman. This thing here is global, everywhere. I just spent 4 months in northern Thailand. You go into Udon Thani, you go to the Phnom, you go to Laos, you go anywhere. Everybody has these things. The women in the gym are filming themselves the same way the women film themselves here in America. They do the same thing. So this video by Psych Hacks, salute to him, makes great content about what loyalty really means for men and women. But he defines it really with women's loyalty. So let's continue on. Okay. When we talk about women, I have to say this. Globally, women are survivalists. Their instinct is to survive. That's global. So that's the first part of female nature. They're not as strong as us, physically strong as us, but mentally they're programmed to survive. And self-preservation comes with that survival. That's just a fact of life. So let's continue on. Let's get brother from Psych Hacks, Dr. Orion Terabin. Let's see what he has to say about loyalty. Continue on.
How is loyalty different between men and women? Well, one is about as loyal as another, though to different things. The thing to understand about woman's loyalty that men often fail to appreciate is that women are loyal to their feelings. For instance, if a woman is completely in love with a guy, if she is 11 out of 10 attracted to him, then her loyalty is impressive indeed. And she will remain loyal as long as those feelings remain in her heart. A woman who is extremely attracted to a man will move across the world for him, will change her religion for him, will break with her family for him, will lie, cheat, and steal for him, and will help bury the body with him if necessary. A woman at that level of attraction is ride or die, and she will do absolutely crazy, irrational, and life-altering things for a man to keep him in her life. It's both impressive and terrifying how loyal a woman can be under the right conditions. How is loyalty different between men and women? Well,
So he breaks down loyalty itself, and this is global. Women are loyal to their feelings globally, and this doesn't change. Now, in other cultures around the world, a lot of things are not dependent just purely on emotions. There's some practical, pragmatic applications in culture, which is like, especially with the Asian cultures, where they're very transactional. Family is critical, community is critical, there's shame. And there's not this government empowerment type environment here, unless there's government manipulation. So there are structures that hold people in place in terms of discipline in a culture. That's not so much here in the West because we live in a gynocentric environment. This is a gynocracy here. So a lot of things is done to promote women, empower women, to lift women up, and to push down on men, to attack masculinity and manhood, to suppress it here in this environment because we have civilized the environment so much where we have all the emergency services, police, fire, and whatever else, and we have a strong, powerful military, police force. All of these things are men designed to protect everybody, protect women, especially protect weak men. So we don't, it's not the Serengeti out here. It's not like Africa or certain parts of Africa or certain parts of Asia where it's survival of the fittest. So the importance of family and man is of the absolute necessity in terms of not even having the government safety nets of secure pension and retirement benefit plans. Your family becomes your pension. Your family becomes your protection. Your family becomes your source of living and life. So we can really negate that aspect of things. So female nature itself has to be somewhat more managed self-preservation. So maybe in those particular environment, the woman is more, acting more disciplined because there's consequences and accountability for her behavior. And she takes substantial risk by acting, out of character or whatever else. So there's consequences for that. So the behavior itself is manipulated by the environment and the conditions. Again, it comes back to self-preservation and survival. Self-preservation and survival is what it comes down to. And that's what he said. The women are loyal to their emotions, and that's really what we have. So what I want to do really is take men themselves to the other side of the world. In case you have some utopian mentality that you can go over there and you don't vet women, every woman in front of you, if you don't know how the skill of vetting women is global, you don't get to go on the other side of the world and bring your guard down. You use the same skills, technique, common sense, rational, logical, because our character is who we are. So if you pick a woman that has bad character, it doesn't matter what continent you pick her from. If you pick a woman that has bad character, it doesn't matter where you get her from. You can get her from Africa, Asia, America, Germany, anywhere. If you pick a woman that has good character, it doesn't matter where you get her from. So at the end of the day, it comes down to our character and who we are as people, especially if that person's been well raised and have good family structure, good strong fathers and whatever else. So character is the real substance of who we are, and the real thing that men, women really should be focused on, as well as people's behaviors and how they, and that's all a part of character as well. But the idea and this mindset, this mentality that there's some utopia somewhere where you can just go and not be the best version of yourself and get good outcomes is purely delusional. It's utopianism and it's unmanly. So that's the problem. And Mr. You've traveled around the world. Everybody wants to live the easy life. And that's why I don't like when men sell men a dream. You know, so everyone wants a man with 50 with money. But in America, he needs 200K. In the Philippines, he only needs 50K. You're absolutely right. But what's happening now, even in the Philippines, is this damn thing right here. This right here is changing the world because we're all connected. And especially with TikTok, the indoctrination in these videos, it's programming and programming and programming and programming. Every video that goes on Twitter, X, TikTok, whatever, goes global. So the women are getting the same information. Then we're dealing with a situation where we have an epidemic of simps. We have an epidemic of simps. Weak men. They're going to any ecosystem and destroy it. Look at all the places that guys go with the passport boats. They go to Colombia, Brazil, Thailand. Well, but not Thailand. See, Thailand, you got to explain. There is the Pattaya area, then there's real Thailand. People think they're in real Thailand when they're in Pattaya in Bangkok. No, you got to get up. You got to go up north into Isan. You get up into the Nakhon Phenoms and the the Udon Thanis and all those other areas where I've been. Pattaya is not Thailand. That's like Las Vegas on steroids. So, but you have the simps that have ruined the ecosystem in all these environments. Men that go over there and they got even if the guys who, there's guys who go over there, have been going over there for decades. They do their little pay for play. They pay the price. They don't get the girl's head all blown up. But now we see that environment has attracted a lot of mediocre type men, low lives, low quality men who don't want to do the work, men who are barely making it financially and surviving. So we saw the ecosystem of even Pattaya has changed. Even the women that are more obese, out of shape, that girlfriend experience is probably gone for those guys. Because those women are getting more cocky, more arrogant. They're absorbing more social media. They're demanding higher prices with lower performances. So female nature has caught up because simps have ruined the environment over there. And that's what they don't tell you. A place like Pattaya, Thailand, Colombia, and many places in Brazil and other places, simps have completely destroyed the environment. You know what I mean? Like you going to Thailand, you go somewhere like that. Yeah. Chiang Rai, Nong Khai. I love Nong Khai. Right. Ratchathani, that's the karate area. But those are real Thailand. So if you're going to Thailand, you might as well if you're going to Thailand, get the hell away from Pattaya in Bangkok. That's not Thailand. I love up the north, close to the Lao border, looking over the Mekong River. You're going to be around traditional Thai people, traditional people from the village, and you're going to be in real Thailand. Not that wherever those guys going with all that, action activity you don't want to be associated with these groups and movements. And the reason why you're going to get branded with that low quality vibe because you don't know what type of mentally ill person is going to attach themselves to a movement like the Passport Bros or some movement like that. And then you associate with this dude. This dude is a degenerate here in America. He goes overseas. He's a degenerate. The guy's a loser here in America. He goes overseas. He's a loser. And now you're attached to this dude because you're part of some loser movement. And then there's guys selling the utopian dream of you just show up somewhere and all of a sudden your problems are solved. You don't have to vet women for character. If you don't vet women for character, everywhere in the world, you're going to get cooked. And it's like guys who sell the dating stuff, right? The dating stuff, the game coaches. Good luck selling game to somebody. If you're not a woman's dating relationship DNA, it doesn't matter. Some guys, they can get in the gym all day long, work out every day, have body, whatever. But if that woman has a dating and relationship mindset of a certain type of guy, a vibe, an energy, a characteristic, a personality, nobody understands attraction. But this is her type. This is her type of guy. You could be gaming in her ears all the way, unless she's making. Now, women will make decisions based on survival. Now, if you got checked all the boxes as which he needs to survive, but if you're talking about arousal, genuine burning desire, some women don't, some women don't have, may just be settling for a guy for security. And that's what's not talked about enough. And that's the real deal, But we see it now in the Philippines and all these other places, is that this shit is caught up. Social media. So many times, if guys are not careful, if they're not able to get away from the normal tourist area, you're meeting the same women that you're escaping in the West if you go to the same places that everybody else goes to. Because those types of women are going to be targeting the foreigners, as opposed to the women that you want that don't target foreigners. The ones that come in looking for you is not the ones you want. And if you're not able to go to a different environment and integrate into an environment doing things that are different, he said, if a woman does both have character, you're just inviting. Yeah, exactly. Does not have character, you're just inviting problems into your life. I appreciate the super chat, man. I appreciate it. And that's what guys are like. Anywhere you go in the world, if you don't vet a woman for character, you're wasting your time. Anywhere you go in the world, if you're not develop yourself as a man with purpose, with vision, self-improvement, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. All you're going to get is garbage. You're going to get the women in that society that their men don't want. Anytime you don't focus on self-improvement, leveling up to be the best version of yourself as a man, and you don't go and learn and get away from these tourist zones, go be involved in activity overseas, there's all kinds of things. You see me put videos up of me at basketball tournaments. I go to basketball tournaments and stuff here. I go to the gym, I work out, I'm in the parks. I like arts. I like the temples. So I meet people organically doing the things that I love here in America. So when I travel overseas, the first thing I don't go do is hang around in red light districts and shit. In fact, I go the farthest way north from that crap. I don't need that crap. To be honest with you, if somebody's really into it, they sell that stuff everywhere. There's no need to go in a red light district or tourist zone. That stuff is sold everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world, they sell it, including right here in America. It's everywhere. It's being sold everywhere on the internet, everywhere. There's no need to go into any red light district anymore. There's like boxes been sold everywhere around us constantly. So there's no need to be packed up in a bunch of expats in a red light district. For what? I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense to me. But I want to address that issue is that people think that because you go somewhere else, all of a sudden you go into a utopianist, environment. Now, what you will do is find out that you can be in an environment where it's not a male hating, man bashing environment. That is true. So that video is really what he talked about about female nature, in that women are loyal to their feelings, and women self-preservation, survival, instinct, and we got to talk about hypergamy. Hypergamy is everywhere. Hypergamy is female nature. That's all it is. The problem with hypergamy in America is the issue, or in the West, is the issue with sexual liberation and hypergamy. What destroys hypergamy in terms of what men don't take women serious is that men are not getting anything special. So if you want to, you can charge somebody a price for something that's brand new and untarnished. But if you try to come at people and you got 30 bodies on you, you've been enjoying sexual liberation for the last decade or so, and then you're saying, well, look, I got to make $200,000 or $150,000. That's what killed the Chinese dating market. You know, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. There's no solution. There's no trade-off, but at least there's accountability in those places. So it's the trade-off is that there's still like feminism, and there's still issues there, but it's not institutionalized like it is here. And there's some level of accountability just for the absence of government empowerment. Because without government empowerment, feminism is a dream. It's a fantasy. It's a fantasy. Without government empowerment, without systems in place to, extract resources from men like it is here in America, feminism is just a dream. It's a fantasy. Because what enforces feminism is men. That's just the way it is. So that's really what it comes down to. So your experience in a different place is probably going to be different because of their view of men. And it's a patriarchal type environment where men are treated with certain respect, and there's gender warfare thing is not being fumed and fired and whatever else as much as it is here in the West. But the West, the power of the West is that all of these things, this gender stuff, is backed by laws, policy that have consequences to them. So hypergamy is natural, hypergamy is normal, but hypergamy is worthless if what you're selling is tarnished. And sexual liberation, the birth control pills that came about, what is it, around the 60s, early 60s? When did birth control come in? Like 1960, somewhere in there? Hormonal birth control. And then the sexual revolution happened. That pretty much killed any serious conversation of hypergamy. I mean, it just if you're offering something that's pure and at least high quality in terms of not being ran through, then men will probably listen to a conversation about hypergamy because they feel like they're getting something special. But now that they've promoted sexual liberation so heavily, now women are having by the time they get to 30, they may have had 5, 6, 7 boyfriends. They may have lived with a dude for 2, 3 years. And now you're going to have to marry them? You're crazy. Good luck to you. It's just what it is in this environment. Now, that's the problem that we have now. That's a problem. You're not getting anything special. So I understand. I said, well, they expect you to make $200,000, $300,000 now. Hell no. The downside for many guys overseas, too, you got to be careful because what happens inevitably with those women, many of them, it depends on the family you pick. There's an expectation that you provide for that woman and her family. And then many women, many times, even you see in places like Thailand, many of those families send those women to those tourist zones to find themselves a rich foreigner to try and enrich the family or build the family up. So there's all kinds of trade-offs in that regard as well. So guys got to be careful with that. And there might be women that come and have a baby at the house, or the single moms, and the baby is staying with the relatives, or the grandmom or the mom takes care of the baby. Granted, in many of those situations, because they're dealing with more traditional culture, a lot of those women know how to really behave or conduct themselves a certain type of way But again, we're getting back to trade-offs again. And it comes back to character too, because I think even at the village level, when those girls come back or those women come back from those tourist zones, they cause many problems in those villages. They get into issues with the family, issues with the people in the local community. Trust me, I've been around, I've seen it. So I understand those things because I've traveled and understood how it worked. But this idea that there's a utopian environment and you put character and vetting character to the character vetting is the number one priority for a man because men are held with their foot to the fire. It don't matter, especially here in the West. You don't vet a woman's character properly. You see we know what happened into Bill Belichick, but that's on some simp shit with Bill. That little young girl running her mouth to Bill Belichick, he didn't fell in love with that box, and he didn't turn into a Mitch. He should have really been have her across town in some little condo across town or something, in some rental, not living with him. Now she's talking to Bill Belichick. Crazy. Bill created that environment with that chick. He should have curbed her little young ass. He need to learn from Uncle Earl. Yeah. Absolutely. And that's what the fundamental problem is. Like this character thing. Like that's everything, man. The friends, even the people you hang around. You're not saying you become the sum of the 5 people you hang around the most. If you hang around a bunch of dudes that drink and smoke and eat junk food, don't go to the gym, always out every day thirsting for rods, don't have any purpose, no activities in their life, you're going to become just like them. You're going to have to listen to that conversation, that nonsense they talking, and you're going to absorb that because you become with the people that you hang around. We see that many times with even the expats in these expat communities. If guys go to the bar every day, not saying I'm not going to go enjoy yourself, have a good time, but sooner or later they just sit around on those chairs, their bellies getting big, drinking, talking in a circle, not really doing anything productive in life. Not even taking care of their health, not even taking care of their well-being. You walk through places like even Pattaya, you see a guy at 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, he's having his breakfast, but he's got 2 cold ones next to him. I mean, God help you. If that's your life. I mean, so we see all these things evolve, with those dudes. And that's the truth of life, But anyhow, we're going to talk about, this idea, this mindset, things that have been sold in men's content, things that have been sold of this fantasy environment and life. Again, there's only trade-offs, but let's continue on. So we understand hypergamy, and hypergamy is everywhere. So I give you an example, and a good thing, the internet is a great thing because it really puts us in perspective of, and we understand. I mean, like, it's a great thing. Like, you look at the women, even in Asian cultures. I like Asian culture because it's very much pragmatic in many regards. You can really learn a lot from them. I'll give you an example. Let's talk about hypergamy, right? We went to the dating market, especially down there in China is a very interesting place. I tell you, you can learn a lot from the culture because they have a high divorce rate now. And we talk about the dating market down there in China, right? And look, they're dealing with the same thing in regards to
if a man has 6 million.
Listen to this conversation, okay? This is China for you guys to think that there's some utopia somewhere. And they're having issues with their dating market. So let's continue.
如果男生有600万，可以第一次见面就结婚。
If a man has 6 million yuan, about $850,000, would you marry him on the first date? 6 million? You want the honest truth? Yes. Honestly, 6 million yuan in Beijing is worth nothing. Nothing? You mean it's not even enough to buy a house? Exactly. Saying something that blunt might get me punched. What kind of interview question is that anyway? You think with 6 million he can just get married on the spot? What is this, grocery shopping?
谈不谈我跟你关你屁。
Whether I've dated or not is none of your business. You're just as gross as me. How dare you call someone used goods? Who are you even talking about? Me? You're the real used item here. Answer the question. Have you ever had a boyfriend or not? You're over 30 already. Answer me. Whether I have or not is still none of your business. What about you? Have you ever had a girlfriend? Yes, I have. And now it's my turn to fire back. Every time I come here, you attack me. Now it's your turn. You've offended over 2 million people. Even if you lived 2 lifetimes, you wouldn't land anyone, and you'd still get roasted.
上海的大龄剩女真的很委屈。
Women from Dalian living in Shanghai are honestly having a hard time. They're constantly judged and criticized by society. Today, I met a woman born in 1990 with a yearly income of over 1 million yuan, over $140,000. She's highly educated and insists on finding someone better than her, around her age. But honestly, how many men born around 1990 have that?
So we see the same type of hypergamy that's here in the West, right? The degree factory, the college degree factory, that, see, people assume because China keeps its culture pretty much closed, that they don't take on some Western ideology. The same thing with the degree mill that we see here in America that trapped a lot of people into getting all these useless, worthless degrees and racking up all this debt has happened all around the world, not just America. So there's been a bunch of Chinese women that have gotten bachelor's, master's degrees, and all these other degrees, some of them making real good money. Others are just worthless degrees and can't find jobs. But inevitably, with that degree and that education comes to hypergamy with that, which is I want a man equal to or better than me, which is natural with women. So they're dealing with issues with high divorce, issues it's the debt factory, exactly. Yeah, an insurmountable debt factory. So they got caught on the degree mill too. They got all these universities, these online courses popping up in China. I mean, it's diabolical. They'll be selling people these useless, worthless degrees, and they can't get jobs. So now these women are walking around with these. They've been programmed, like in the West, to focus on their careers. They've abandoned many of their old traditional cultures. Now they're having problems finding husbands. Now they've been listening to TikTok. Now they've been listening to the West. Now they're becoming modern, like the mentality and the mindset of modern Western women. And the CCP also has helped program that because they have to generate steam for the economy, especially in the area of real estate. China's biggest thing is real estate. Since all of their companies are owned by the state, the one thing that you can get your hands on that can get you into an economic situation of success is they can get you on hands on the real estate. Real estate is wealth, just like gold. In Thailand, they buy gold bots. It's a sign of wealth and success. So the Thais will buy property and they'll buy gold bot. They can always sell gold and gold prices are up. So gold, real estate, and those things are considered success in China. They will, that's why when they've been vetting the man, they want to have a house, they want to have a car, they want to make a certain amount of yuan per month. Hypergamy. Hypergamy is global. It's just that when we go over in these countries as Western men, the hypergamy benefits us who make more money. So hypergamy is global. But again, we still go back to character. What is the character of the human being that you're talking to? So these degree mills have been pushing out these worthless degrees globally especially in Asia and Southeast Asia and China and other places like that, where people are, and like in America, everybody's wants the student loan debt forgiveness. Many people have went to college, and women have gotten degrees, men have gotten degrees. They don't even work in the field of study they are. The degree, they get graduate from college and find out that if they don't have a particular STEM field degree, they wasted their money. They got in debt. They became debt slaves. They got into the degree mill. And they're like, man, I could have did this crap with a high school diploma and a training certificate. And now you're $150,000, $200,000 in debt. Salute, D. Welcome to the stream. So they got the Chinese with the degree mill. They were sold nonsense. The women were sold lies. And it's really exploitation. It should be criminal to sell people crap that they can't use in the real world. It really should be criminal. So unless you're going to go into college from a specific profitable form of education, the medical field, the STEM fields, so, and then you got to also worry about AI. AI it's a real threat to many people because they could be replaced. You know, AI is going to really, I'm telling you right now, you think some women are selling box right now? Wait until AI really kicks in at a serious level. You're going to see a lot of these office jobs, all of these, clerical or secretarial type functions or whatever kick in. You're going to have a lot of computers replacing customer service and all these other little jobs that women be having. It's just going to be a problem. Automation, AI, all these things are going to come in to replace a lot of jobs. And again, if they can do things more efficiently, and a place like China has its, huge manufacturing core, but that society itself is taking L's. Debt is a huge problem. Debt is a problem in Thailand. Debt is a problem in China. Debt is a problem in Southeast Asia. Everybody is fueled debt, making it easier for people to buy cars, get worthless degrees, debt, credit card debt, because they want lifetime slaves paying high interest rates. And that's one of the things with feminism. Feminism is to erode, make women more masculine, make men more feminine, and then erode the structure that would prevent women from spending, which is the family, the husband. Because the husband be like, hey, baby, hey, chill. We need to save money and plan for our future. But that's not good for capitalism and the economy to have a man managing the finances. It's like the church. What is the point of having strong men around? They're going to be questioning the pastor all day long. And then pastor ain't going to be able to get his Cadillac the way he wants. So that's the premise, the basis of supporting feminism, manipulating feminism, manipulating it to the point to keep women spending. So is it diabolical? It is what it is. But these, you say, thankfully, I pay for my useless scholarship grants. I have 2 of them. Man, I haven't used that crap. I'm like, I mean, it's a rite of passage. And I graduated college a long time ago. But again, I mean, have we used, some of these, unless you got one of those STEM degrees, really, I think most things can be learned with certification courses, to be honest with you. For most things, you don't take 4 years and 5 years or 6 years racking up debt, other than like medical and STEM and all these other things, engineering and all these different things, the sciences. You're really getting fleeced out here. And China is an example of this. They really get on some, that's like criminal what they doing in China with these women in those degrees. So let's continue on. So we're dealing with hypergamy. Hypergamy is global. This is an example of it. Let's continue on.
that kind of income, good looks, and would agree to date her. There's also a woman born in 1980 who earns over 1 million yuan per year too, but she completely refuses to consider anyone born in the 1970s. She insists on dating men from the 1980s, and they must have a youthful vibe. But really, how many men like that would choose them? If we say their dating standards are a problem, does that mean women are forced to lower their standards and choose someone weaker than themselves? And if we say their standards aren't a problem, well, from a woman's perspective, they're perfectly reasonable. But the issue is this. Nowadays, men only care about two things, age and appearance. And unfortunately, those two things can't be changed.
不要说大龄剩女有罪，
Don't be so quick to say that
So here's the problem. They bought into the American system of go to college, get a degree, focus on your career. Because again, that's what they were programmed to do by the CCP to help boost China's economy. And but the problem with that is nature, what men prefer, childbirth, pregnancy, time. So if you're focused on your career all these years and you're having boyfriends, you may have sex all the time, you've been out here, you've been a career professional, now you're 38 years old, and now you're in that park in China trying to find a mate, and the guy is like, why am I going to put because they require a house, a car, what's it? I know in Thailand it's Sinsad, but in China, what is it? Bride price? Who the hell is going to pay bride price on an old woman that's over 26, 27, 24? What's the age? Xinyu, China is like 20, what, 27? So a guy's like, holy crap, I can't marry a woman that's 35, 38. She's not going to have any babies for me. I don't care what kind of degrees she has. Again, social status versus dating relationship market. Yes, she's a successful person. Yes, she's smart. She's intelligent, whatever else. But she's been out here enjoying sexual liberation. She's older. She's running out of eggs. And she's set in her ways and probably difficult to deal with. Nobody wants to deal with these older masculine women in that culture because the idea for them, those people getting married is for legacy, is for family, is for future. And nobody's trying to deal with the future make a future with a woman that's been out here enjoying sexual liberation, has cohabitated with men, and that is, so their dating market got screwed the same way American dating market got screwed. Then they got into the delusion thing. Yeah, like their eggs is about going. So guys like looking at her like they're very pragmatic in that culture. They're like, you barely have any eggs. What am I going to do with you? You're an old woman. I can't make kids with you. And then they have these high standards based upon hypergamy. So hypergamy tells them that they're supposed to get a higher status male, higher status mate. That's their nature. That's natural. So they're behaving normally. So hypergamy tells them that they're supposed to have this type of man. But the dating and sexual marketplace doesn't care about. Men don't care about that. Men are looking like, you ain't got no more eggs. You're set in your ways. You're older. You're more disagreeable. But more importantly, what am I going to do? You've been out here for a long time. You've lived with 2-3 boyfriends. What am I getting special? So they didn't have to put their house and their car and their family wealth on the line. But now I got to marry you. You've been single for all these years, enjoying life, living your best life, or focusing on your career, enjoying many boyfriends. They destroyed the Chinese dating market. Westernization, in a small regard, it's controlled Westernization because the CCP still runs things, but it destroyed their market. They brought in modern feminism into the market. So let's continue on with the content.
Older unmarried women are somehow at fault. There's a big difference between women who are simply single and those who are gold diggers. There's nothing wrong with a woman remaining unmarried into her later years. Sometimes it's just a matter of timing or missed opportunities, which leads to challenges in marriage. But being a gold digger is something else.
I agree with her.
That refers to people who approach men with the clear intention of taking their money through dating or marriage. Of course, I acknowledge that many men have been scammed like this, and some have ended up with a fear of marriage because of it. That's why I hope people stop fueling the conflict between men and women. We should promote.
I'm glad you said that. Yeah, they're not like us. They're not playing that game over there. He said that unlike in America, the men won't touch an older woman with a 10-foot pole. Tracy Ellis Ross type women couldn't get it from younger men, older men, or the men her age. They're gonna have to pay for the D. A woman like Tracy Ellis Ross is invisible in Asia. She may get some action in Africa, but just for some dude trying to get some money. Now she can get, she can get some action on a late night, like tonight, Friday night. Yeah, she can get some action, but ain't nobody trying to keep no Tracy Ellis Ross type women around, and she not trying to give up no money. So, because she thinks herself as a prize, but in those cultures, man, those women are. And I'd be walking around Southeast Asia. A woman like that would not even be on the radar. Too many young, good-looking women walking around. Too many fertile, young, sexy women walking around. She's invisible. And that's why you see a lot of these sisters or women, Western women, go overseas and the men don't even look at them and they feel like, I can't believe it. In America, these guys is looking for me. No, that's just the market. You're invisible over here, baby. There's too many options over here. Overseas, there's just too many damn options walking around. Men ain't cheap overseas. Especially squared away, man. It's just expensive over here. You can't come over there like that. But let's continue on with the content. But she said, no, hell no. Once you get to a certain age in China, they're like, hell no, you out.
Promote fairness and spread positive energy. And please, don't twist or maliciously edit what I say. Everything I'm saying today is meant to support a healthy society. This platform is here to promote positive values. Agreed? Speaking for myself, I want to say this to the younger women out there. After you've finished your education and achieved success, don't be overly picky. Don't aim to.
See, now, a woman like this, just based on what she's saying and how she's conducting herself, she appears to have the image of good character. Like she's vibing with good character right now. So even older Western guys would talk to a woman like that because she's giving off the energy of good character based upon her conversation, body language, and demeanor. She gets it. She gets it. And she's probably made the changes internally to her mindset and mentality. So she can probably get an older Western guy to take her serious, not for kids, not for family, but for companionship and a long-term life together. They can live a life together because she understands mentally and she's gotten rid of the delusion. But that's the difference there, what you see with culture, because the culture over there forces women to grow. You can only get away with that delusion and arrogance for so long till that culture smacks you on the ass. Now that's different from here in America. Because in America, you could be delusional, Ellis Ross or Vivica Fox or Lisa Ray. The delusion never stops. You could be delusional to your 70-year-old here in America because we live in a gynocracy. Over there, you get smacked down to the ground. You try to be delusional like that. Men and women, you get drop kicked trying to be delusional. Mentally, you get drop kicked. But let's continue on.
Too high when you're standing too low. And don't look down on others. You want this, you want that, and then you want even more. In the end, you're the one who gets hurt. If one day you meet someone who's a good match, don't wait. Just get married. I believe life is meant to be enjoyed, not spent hurting yourself. Live in the present. Don't let age define your youth. A 38-year-old woman still has youth, still has her own life. Even though I'm not married now, I feel like I'm living very well. Of course, I still hope that one day I'll meet my Prince Charming and have a happy marriage. That's also my parents' biggest wish. They lose sleep at night worrying about me. If I ever do get married, I'll go to the Wansong tree with my marriage certificate and show everyone who's here today. To all of you filming me right now, I'll give you a signal, and I hope you all live beautiful lives too.
这个来了那么多人，
So many people have come here. But let's be honest, everyone's here for money. Older single women want a man with a house, a car, and money. Older single men want the same, a woman with a house, a car, and money. What about the marriage agencies? They're in it for the money too. What about the influencers? They're here for money as well. So why is the world so exhausting? It's because everyone is chasing money. No one comes here for justice. No one is here for positive energy. And that's it. Plain and simple.
小姐姐身材好苗条。
Wow, you're so slim.
I'm sorry. There's a the old school just cut to the chase. He's like, everybody's here for this damn money. Everybody's here for this money. You notice there's some similarities? The same as the damn West. The same as America. So people got to get the delusion out of their brain. There's no utopia. There's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. Now, this guy is going to look her up and down, and listen to this conversation.
How old are you? Age doesn't matter. Where are you from? Kuju. Education level? Bachelor's degree. What do you do for work? Finance. How much is your annual income? Around 100,000 yuan, about $14,000. What's your ideal partner like? Ideally, someone working in Hangzhou. Has your family already settled in Hangzhou? Not yet. My parents are still in my hometown, but I've settled here. Do you own a home? Yes, since I've settled here. You prefer someone born after 1995? That's right. So a 5 to 6 year age gap? Yes. Height requirement? At least 1.70 meters, 5 feet 7 inches. Education? Bachelor's. Does where he's from matter? Preferably someone from Zhejiang province.
石家庄相亲市场有一个很残酷的。
In Shijiazhuang, there's a harsh reality at the matchmaking market. Women over the age of 38 who have never been married almost have no chance of getting married at all. Why is that? Is it because they're too picky? Not exactly. It's because their mindset has hit a dead end. Yesterday, I met a beautiful woman born in 1985. She has a master's degree, earns 300,000 yuan per year, about $42,000, owns a house and a car, all paid off. She believes those are plus points in finding a husband, but reality hit her hard. The high-quality men have already been scooped up by younger women born in the 90s, and the men who are still available don't meet her standards, so she's stuck in a vicious cycle. The better her conditions, the harder it is to find someone to marry. Think about it. Isn't that true?
什么？中国竟然有超过1亿的。
Surprised? China has over 100 million.
So this is what we're going to have. So we talk about Morgan Stanley's the she economy. The she economy. They did a study. What is it by 2045? There'll be like over 50% of single women living alone with no husbands or whatever else, because that's what hypergamy has created. That's what this degree, they created this modern degree factory of useless degrees. But in that mindset of that woman, her degree makes her better than the guy who's a plumber or the guy who's an electrician or whatever else in her mind. And she will only accept equal to or better based upon her standard of what is better. So we've created this problem, you know. Yeah, you 42,000 a year, you're doing good over there. You say 40, they say, yeah, said she makes 42,000 a year. She's considered successful. So she wants somebody that makes 2, 3 times more than her, 4 times more than her. She's probably got this idea of bride prices and all that in her mind. But again, this is what they've created. They've bought into, many of them, they've bought and sold on what's being promoted out globally, which is strong and independent woman, based on the manipulation by corporations and maybe the 2% population. Like China has about 500 families that run that society. But a lot of people don't understand. They see the CCP, the Communist Party, but about 500 families, wealthy families, manipulate everything in that society. Just like in these Western cultures, there's only certain, I mean, we could talk about the Rockefellers and their involvement in feminism, but all of it is really to fuel capitalism. It's not what's good for women or men. It's what's good for capitalism. And that's what people want. This is all being manipulated by the ruling class in every society. These women, they think that they're strong. They're just puppets being played and exploited as these debt slaves and consumer droids. They're consumer droids sliding that credit card everywhere. They're being programmed by wealthy individuals that run society. And that's why when these women talk about the patriarchy, what patriarchy? There's about maybe 0.00000% of men that controlled all of us, manipulated all of us. That small fraction of a percentage of men that manipulated society is what controls society. There was patriarchy, my ass. It was just purely manipulation by a ruling class of men. Small fraction of a percentage. And all of us were subject to their control and manipulation. The same way women are being manipulated today and globally because of this idea of feminism to fuel capitalism, corporate sponsored, indoctrinated. And one of the agents of that, and that's why I think Trump had battled with China with TikTok, and America itself understand the dangers of TikTok because it's communist owned, communist influence, have many different Chinese agents or different people that are manipulating the mindset and mentality of women and men globally. So those are deep thoughts and conversations we have to have. But let's move on to this idea of female nature. We showed a clip by Dr. Orion Taraban and talked that women are loyal to their feelings and emotion. Women's first move is for survival, self-preservation. That's just their nature. That's just the nature. So with that being said, and I talk about vetting character, character is vetted everywhere. Everywhere you go, character is the most important factor in whoever you associate yourself with, men or women. If they have poor character, you're going to turn out with a bad situation, whether you're in America or anywhere else in the world. I don't care what that woman looks like. If her character is piss poor, your ship is already sunk. Your ship is already sunk in any culture. And it's difficult, especially overseas, if you don't speak the language, to quickly and properly vet character. This is why social network is critical. But it's hard for people to get involved in social network overseas unless they spend a tremendous amount of time there around the locals. Because they're not going to just invite you into their social club. They don't know anything about you. They haven't spent enough time around you to say, okay, here's Mr. Here's a peaceful life. You know what, guys, come down to the tennis club today. And then you can meet people and get networking. And then you can say, hey, I saw that. They'll introduce you to women and say, well, she's been single all the time, for many years. It's like, well, what's her character? What kind of person is she? Oh, I've known her for the past 20 years. She's a good, upstanding person. She has a good heart and a good soul. That's how you meet women. You don't meet women hanging out in the red light district and the red light district somewhere. You're going to have problems, period. You're going to have problems. So social network, social connections, activity, moving on your purpose, and being involved in extracurricular activities and hobbies are the best ways to meet people organically. And you can get a reference of their character based on people who know them. And you can get a good feedback based on that. But these random grabs is where problems usually happen because you can't properly vet character. You can't. So let's continue on. And I want to give you an example of this, okay? This is a situation right here that I want to talk about in China. This woman right here, okay? And we talk about female nature being global. She abandons her husband. This is a terrible human being. So it doesn't matter whether she's in America, China, anywhere else. She's just a horrible person. So this idea that you go to China and you're going to find these women that are just better, they may have a larger volume of women that are more fit in terms of tradition, in terms of what men desire. But you still have to pick the right woman. That responsibility still lies on the man to sift through all the gold diggers and, treacherous women to find women that were properly raised and would have good character. This woman, on the other hand, I'll let you guys determine. Fair use.
A woman in her 40s, showed no concern at all after her husband was diagnosed with cancer. Instead, she spent her days seeking pleasure with other men outside, which infuriated her husband so much that he died with hatred in his heart. But when the little fairy learned that her husband had received 3 million yuan in demolition compensation before he died, she immediately wore a bright red outfit and kowtowed at his grave to apologize. She hoped her husband's family would, for the sake of the child, let her manage the 3 million yuan in demolition compensation.
穿不穿的衣服？这个是谁？这个你问谁？你问他了。这个是谁？穿不穿的衣服？
What the little fairy never expected was that her affair with another man had been secretly photographed by relatives of the Zhang family and printed out to be handed over to Zhang's brothers. However, even though the little fairy knew she was in the wrong, faced with the temptation of 3 million yuan, she still chose to take a gamble. So, on the 7th day after her husband's death, she brought a mediator and began tearfully complaining, saying that she had had a great relationship with her husband throughout the...
So now we see terrible character. I'm going to get right back into the video because I hate to cut people off in the middle, but I have to react to the video. But terrible human being, poor character, gaslight, female nature, manipulation of a terrible, horrible woman. And this is China. So if you don't vet women properly, globally, for good character, you're going to get cooked out here. So this is the guy. He's dying. He's on cancer. She's out there getting pounded out by other men. Women are loyal to their feelings. Not all women, bad women especially. So let's continue on. Said the little fairy.
The years of their marriage. But now that her husband had died of cancer, not only did the in-laws not let her attend the funeral, they even took away her and her husband's only son and hid him. Today is the 7th day since her husband's death, and she wanted to send him off one last time, but she didn't expect to still be kicked out by the in-laws, who told her to go back to her parents' home. Even before her husband's 7th day memorial had passed, the Zhang siblings not only refused to let her participate in the funeral, but also tried to kick her out and send her back to her own family. Then the little fairy brought a reporter back home, saying her husband had received 2.52 million yuan in compensation before he died. But after his death, the husband's bank card and passbook, and even their marriage certificate, had all disappeared. She suspected it was her in-laws scheming behind her back to seize the demolition compensation.
就是儿子被带走以后，这些东西都没了。
是的，
我看这里面有存折呀，有银行卡呀，这些
这是我老公身上还有一个5000块钱。
啊，这是老公身上掏下来的。
对。
The little fairy's twisted statements made the mediator furious, and he immediately took her to the in-laws' house to confront them. Just as the mediator was about to speak, the third brother rode off on his motorcycle, seemingly unwilling to say a word to the little fairy. From the third brother's wife, they learned that the Zhang siblings were many, 10 in total. Zhang Chong, the little fairy's husband, was the youngest, and was deeply cared for by the other 9 siblings. But the little fairy not only neglected Zhang Chong and their child, she even left home to be with another man just a few days before Zhang Chong passed away. What's worse, as Zhang Chong's wife, she refused to follow the tradition of burial and insisted on cremating him. The little fairy, seeing the third sister-in-law scolding her non-stop, gave up pretending and bluntly said in front of the mediator that she had come only to get the 2.52 million yuan in demolition compensation. Just then, third brother Zhang Jun returned home.
那个得放松是吧？我们买5斤油，一条草鱼，头发底鱼，头发头发就发就是搞中我的大草头发。
What a piece of work! This woman is outrageous. Not only did she not help with her husband's funeral, but she even called the police to make false reports. According to third brother, every sibling's house had been demolished, and each family received at least 1 million yuan in compensation, so they had no interest in Zhang Chong's money. But it was the little fairy who, right after Zhang Chong received the 3 million yuan compensation, withdrew 400,000 yuan, and then left Zhang Chong and the child behind to enjoy herself alone. Now that she's back, it's probably because the 400,000 yuan she took has been spent. To convince the mediator, third brother took out the photos taken by relatives. We won't describe the exact content here. Anyone can imagine what they showed. But the little fairy insisted that the man in the photo was just a doctor friend helping her with a medical examination, and that removing clothing was necessary. They were just ordinary friends. Besides, one photo didn't prove anything. Seeing how stubborn the little fairy was, the others, although they didn't believe her, didn't make a big deal out of it.
All right. So I had to stop just for a second. So gaslight, the same nonsense that women do where? Here. When they get busted red-handed, what do women do? Lie. Same thing, China, lie. Female nature is the same. Everywhere. She's full of crap, but it's the same. Just like men's nature is similar around the globe. Similar. So it doesn't change. Only cultures change. And accountability changes. That's just the way it is. Let's continue on.
After all, Zhang Chong was already gone. Whether it was true or not no longer mattered. But the little fairy didn't care at all. What she cared about was where the remaining 2.52 million yuan had gone.
你们兄弟几个的这种意见是一致的，是吧？
他们都知道要他保存，
留着给孩子的是吧？
留着给孩子的，他那个又把人家拼了去。
您说的那个侄女是老几家的？
老大人家的。
老大家的。
他拿了不要他都跟他保存那东西，你都装的好了，要他保存。
Turns out that after Zhang Chong passed away, the siblings planned to safeguard the money for him. But if each household were to keep a portion, it might cause disputes. So after discussion, they agreed to let the eldest brother keep the full 2.52 million yuan. The eldest brother had the highest standing in the family and had received the most compensation himself. Everyone trusted that he would never covet his younger brother's money. But if the money were given to the little fairy, their nephew might be abandoned, and she might take the money and marry someone else. That nephew was Zhang Chong's only bloodline, and they would not allow anything to happen to him. Seeing that the Zhang siblings were determined not to give up the money, the little fairy brought the mediator to find her son, hoping to use emotions to sway them.
妈妈急得要死，打电话你也没有回。点3天灯，那没跟我说呀。习俗都不知道。
Facing his mother's arrival, the son, Xiaoyong, didn't even bother to look at the little fairy. He just kept playing his video game. Then Xiaoyong told the mediator that during his father's illness, his mother left home, and he not only had to go to school but also cook and do laundry for his father. Life was extremely difficult. Xiaoyong clearly remembered that 2 days before his father died, his father called his mother and begged her to come home. His father, fearing that she would mind his cancer, even bought a new bed and new bedding. But she not only didn't come back, she also cursed him, saying she hoped his cancer would get worse. Worse yet, the night he became gravely ill, she was still yelling at him over the demolition money. At that moment, Zhang Xia, who was safeguarding the demolition compensation, arrived. Zhang Xia told the mediator that when her uncle Zhang Chang passed away, he didn't leave any will. He only hoped his siblings would take care of Xiaoyong. As for the demolition compensation, anyone in the family who needed it could use it freely, as long as enough was left for Xiaoyong to get married in the future. The siblings said they would take care of Xiaoyong and manage the money wisely for him. But the little fairy disagreed. She believed she was Zhang Chang's legal heir, and that the in-laws were meddling in things that weren't their business. The two sides argued endlessly over the money. Seeing that things were beyond his scope, the mediator took everyone to the village committee for further mediation. In Zhang Xia's heart, her uncle Zhang Chang had always been an honest and upright man. He wasn't very talkative, but he always had a clear conscience. Zhang Xia told the mediator that after Zhang Chang passed, they deposited 1 million yuan under the child's name to be used for his future marriage. They used 760,000 yuan to buy a house for the child. The remaining tens of thousands of yuan were saved for the child's future needs. When the little fairy heard this, she was immediately unhappy. She believed that as the legal wife of Zhang Chang, she had the right to decide how the money was spent, and she prepared to sue the in-laws. But the in-laws were not worried at all.
So basically, even though the older brother, which is a smart, responsible man, and he has this, it really is a reflection of what type of character he has. He has outstanding character. He didn't try to steal anything from his brother, and he set his nephew up to have a bright future, taking care of the child's education and everything else. She doesn't care. She just wants the money so she can go live her best life. Again, horrible person, poor character. Here we go. Let's continue on.
During Zhang Chang's illness, the little fairy had abandoned her husband and son and left home. In this case, the court would not side with her. Faced with their rebuttal, the little fairy, already on the losing side, was at a loss. But if she couldn't get the money, she would never give up. After all, she was still Zhang Chang's legal wife. After much argument, the in-laws finally made a compromise. They said that there was still a 470,000 yuan demolition payment under Zhang Chang's name that hadn't yet been received. Also, his bank book still had 70,000 yuan in it. These 540,000 yuan could be given to the little fairy to use freely. But if she wanted to touch the 2 million yuan set aside for the child, she'd have to wait until the child was an adult. At this point, the little fairy had achieved her goal and no longer acted aggressively. She quietly let the in-laws scold her.
你有没有责任？你反思了没有？你做的这些事情对他这个孩子的心有没有伤害？受到了伤害没有？他做得起人不？他不但在这个家里做不起人，他在他的学校也做不起人。而且你还到他学校去吵了，去哭了，有什么用呢？
In the end, the little fairy put on a show by bringing the mediator to her husband's grave, kneeling and apologizing in front of the camera.
This woman eventually got part of the money, but what she truly lost was a husband who once cherished her like his life, a son who saw through her completely, and a family that would never accept her again. A terminally ill husband begged her to come home on the phone, but she not only didn't return, she mocked, insulted, and treated him with chilling indifference. A young boy came home from school every day, cooking and taking care of his father, but couldn't even get a word of comfort. Now, wearing red at the grave, kowtowing, crying, and apologizing, is it remorse or just an act? When it was time to fulfill her responsibilities, she ran away. But when money was involved, she returned. Was it fate playing a cruel joke or the bitter fruit of her own making? In my opinion, she is a complete traitor who didn't even leave a shred of dignity for her dead husband. When someone abandons their husband and child and then comes back for the inheritance, does she even deserve to inherit? What do you think about this woman? Feel free to leave your comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this.
So what do we see? The female nature of a terrible person. And that brings us back to this video, which is explained by Dr. Orion Terabin. And this is true, right? Let's continue. What did he say?
How is loyalty different between men and women? Well, one is about as loyal as another, though to different things. The thing to understand about women's loyalty that men often fail to appreciate is that women are loyal to their feelings. For instance, if a woman is completely in love with a guy, if she is 11 out of 10 attracted to him, then her loyalty is impressive indeed, and she will remain loyal as long as those feelings remain in her heart. A woman who is extremely attracted to a man will move across the world for him, will change her religion for him, will break with her family for him, will lie, cheat, and steal for him, and will help bury the body with him if necessary. A woman at that level of attraction is ride or die, and she will do absolutely crazy, irrational, and life-altering things for a man to keep him in her life. It's both impressive and terrifying how loyal a woman can be under the right conditions. How is loyalty different?
So, in essence, her loyalty is based upon her feelings. And you say, she gives Keisha a run for her money. Female nature is global. So this is just what it is. And if women don't like you anymore and have no more emotional investment in you, then it comes down to character. Character. She just happened to be a woman that's not invested emotionally in her husband and also has poor character. And we see the outcome of that. We see that here in America. We see that everywhere else, where women be cheating on their husbands or cheat on their boyfriends. And that guy is working every day thinking that I do everything for you. I pay all the bills. I take care of everything. I'm responsible. But she's probably bored in the relationship. And none of that matters in the moment because only her feelings matter. So all the in-laws are telling her what a horrible person she is. She doesn't give a rat's ass. She needs money. She's broke. She wants to live her best life. She doesn't care about him. That's her nature. That's who she is. And again, we have to get to this point where we look at people as individuals and vet their character so we don't become a part of these movements where we have this collectivist mindset and we're like walking droids. Some guy goes overseas thinking that he's going to walk over there and every woman is going to be this feminine, cooperative, fit, or this woman that's good character, of good substance, and end up dealing with monsters, running into the same monsters that you escaped the West to go meet. You run it because you don't look at their character, who they are as people. You end up jumping from the frying pan and into the fire. That's why I have no courses to sell. I don't sell no dreams about certain things in life. I don't sell that garbage because it doesn't help anybody. It only keeps people stuck. Just like with some of these grifters, you see them in the manosphere, you see them in red pill spaces. They keep people stuck. The red pill and all these things are important knowledge at the kindergarten level. Then you graduate and you become a free-thinking objectivist, a man that lives life on his own terms. You don't hate women, but you understand their nature. And because you understand their nature, you're able to get the best value and quality out of them. Because the red pill keep you in the loop. You be sitting around watching red pill content all day long, but you ain't doing nothing with your life. And you're stuck. While the people who's making the red pill content, they're getting rich while telling you what a loser you are. Or they tell you don't mess with single moms, but they messing with single moms. They tell you, hey, you know, this is what you got to do. Boss up, become like me. Become like Andrew Tate or one of these guys. They getting rich mouthpiecing you. But they keep you stuck in a loop and have no idea what they do when they get off this YouTube streets. When I get off this YouTube channel, you don't know what the hell I'm doing. I could be the biggest simp in the world. I'm not, but I could be the biggest liar simp in the world. Most of these guys in red pill spaces and the manosphere are the biggest simps on the planet. They won't tell you that. But see, I can see through the nonsense because they want you to buy into their Patreon. They want you to buy into their coaching calls. They want to sell you a product. But most of those guys are liars. I don't have any pickup course or pickup game course to sell you because most of that stuff is bullshit. Now, I will talk about the virus itself, which is low self-esteem, which creates a scarcity mindset. How do you build self-esteem? You have to suffer, unfortunately. You have to go through some bullshit and you have to learn, or you can learn from the sins of others with wisdom or the mistakes of others. But there's no easy way. A woman looks at you and within a few seconds, she decides that you are that guy. And regular, everyday guys walk outside and they meet women. Whether they're 5'8", 5'9", 6 foot, or whatever else, they go out there and they meet women. They have a mindset, the mentality of indifference. They understand female nature. They understand women, and they go out and enjoy their life. I don't want to keep men stuck because I will see the world through the eyes of winning and losing. If that means that my channel is no longer relevant because men are becoming greater for themselves, not for women, then so be it. I'll just do something else. But I'm not going to try and keep guys stuck in a loop just so I can make profit off of men and men's misery. When I go get off the internet and I go pound out women and I'm enjoying my life and I'm enjoying the money I made from you, and then I'm going to come back and disrespect you. You know, that gets crazy. It's cycle, you know. And you ask yourself the question. It's like the person who says that they're the greatest real estate investor on the planet, and all they do is stay on the internet talking about real estate. So their scam is to sell you a course on real estate. That's how they're making their money. They're not really making their money off of real estate. They're making their money talking to you. So if somebody's making their money talking to you in the red pill space or the manosphere or any other space, that's their profession. And that's how they're making their revenue. Now, can you get value from that? Yes. But what is the reality of how these men live when they get offline? What are they doing when they get off the computer? Are some of them the biggest simps on the planet? Yes. Do they have all these single moms and baby mama drama and dealing with women and begging for box and doing well? Yes. Many of these guys are living a complete fraudulent life. So you can't see it. I can see it inevitably. Or if somebody sells you that if you just jump on a plane and go somewhere and then all your problems is going to be solved, lies. You know, it's nonsense. And that's what the problem you see right now, you know, in terms of, you know, spaces and whatever else. So I had to create this video and talk about there's no solutions. There's only trade-offs. Now, personally, I enjoy being overseas because, especially during the cold winter months, because I like to be in an environment where women are not programmed just to hate men. So when I go up in northern Thailand during the wintertime, I feel great. I have low cost living, healthy food, and I'm in a peaceful environment around women that are feminine, that don't hate men. I don't feel this gender warfare or this. That's why I like to be on the East, way up away from all these guys and these movements. So I go far from everybody else. Most of the guys, when I go to Thailand, they go to Pattaya, Bangkok. I'm in Nakhon Phanom. I'm in Bin Lang Khan. I'm in Nam Khai. I'm up there all the way north. Wherever they are, I'm in the opposite direction. I don't want to be associated with that debauchery and that goofiness because I don't know what comes off that plane and what their character is. So I get the hell away from them dudes. You don't need those dudes if you go a place like Thailand and Laos. When I go to Vietnam, Laos, I don't want to see them dudes. I'd be up there with the Lao people. I don't need to be a part of these groups. I get along great with the locals. I mean, it get a little annoying trying to count all that money down in Laos, the big ass money. I mean, you get tired of $100,000 bill or $50,000. You have to count like, what the hell, man? I got to bring my calculator out. Like, you know, how much is that? It'd be like $100,000 thing. It'll be only $10. And now that gets annoying. But other than that, I enjoy being away from all this passport, bro, all that nonsense. I'd be up in the bonies. I say, well, shoot, are you the only black guy up there? Yes, and I love it. I'll go up. Now, if I know brothers, and I say, well, you guys say, well, a peaceful life. How do I go up and meet more traditional type environment? I say, well, you're a good brother? No problem. But I'm not going to just be I'm not gatekeeping the proper play. I'm just not going to be helping certain characters come into an environment and create problems and chaos in an environment. Plus, you can't get away with that stuff in those environments anyhow. You can't go up in certain areas. Like if you go to like Udon Thani, Thailand or somewhere, like you can't do the debauchery that you do in Pattaya. They wouldn't tolerate that up there. So you leave that debauchery in those areas because they won't tolerate that anywhere else in rural areas or north or other places. You don't need to be around that nonsense. Who does? Especially if you're a working professional. If you're a working professional and you have a career, you have a successful life, whatever your skill, when you go travel overseas, you don't want to be anywhere around the debauchery. You want to be in a nice, relaxing environment because you have money, you have resources. You know, you don't want to be hanging around a bunch of dudes making thirst videos with Asian women dancing, showing their ass in bikinis. No, hell no. Not that you may enjoy some of that stuff off camera, but you don't want to be up in that environment. Hell with that. Now, so it's up to each individual as a person. So that's what that's what it really comes down to. It is just that everybody globally is a conversation about individual character and associations. And like I said earlier, you become the sum of the people that you hang around the most. here in America and everywhere else. You hang around a bunch of people who don't like to, to work out or don't like to take care of themselves, you're going to be the person that don't like to work out and take care of yourself. If you hang you hang around people that don't eat well, that don't take care of their money, that are reckless, that's spending money like crazy, that got 3 or 4s at the house, got stripper poles in their basement, and they got liquor everywhere. Liquor is everywhere in their house. They drinking all the time. You hang around that's what you want to become. And that's the real problem that you're going to see right now. So I like to spend time with the brothers and just spend time just kicking pure truth and information and resources, because again, it's just a situation where you understand. And I think as we as mature men, we understand that it's only trade-offs. There's no solution. What is the trade-off? You stay here in America, you live somewhere else, you travel, you enjoy life on your own terms. Is it easier for you to live in the Philippines? Being red pill aware, being knowledgeable, being smart, picking your social circle, properly vetting people, for women especially. Is it easier life? You're more retired, it gets you out of the wintertime? Or do you prefer living here in America? Yeah, it's more, infrastructure is better, more modern. Obviously in the Philippines, you can live somewhere like BGC, or you can live somewhere like Cebu, or what's the other spot? They have these little bubbles in the Philippines where you can have the best of both worlds. For an intelligent guy who understands how to get through social circles, who goes for the social circle first, not for the women. Don't go for the women first. Develop a social circle first, and let that social circle help you vet women. Let that social circle help you vet women. That's how you meet women. You go, because they're going to screen, they're going to be your eyes and ears. If you go for an activity, or let's say you involved in certain activity here in America, go seek out that activity. That's my advice. Seek out that activity in that culture overseas, if that's what you want to do. But also have a mindset and a mentality of, how do I associate with certain people that share my values? Because when you get in certain environments, if you're not around people who share your values, you're going to be dealing with a whole lot of stupid, crazy nonsense. Or you just associated with people because, okay, we both from America. But what if we both from America and I'm a piece of shit? Now you're hanging out with a piece of shit. You see what I'm saying? And that happens all over the place. Brazil, Colombia, Thailand, anywhere else you travel. You have to have a good circle of people that are solid. Because there's certain dudes, they're not leaving the country for the right reasons, in terms of they're not mentally there all the way. And then they go somewhere else, and next thing you know, you're hanging out with them and you're dealing with foolishness. And people in those cultures, particularly, they lose respect for you fast. You don't see me on any videos. And I was in Thailand for 4 months, northern Thailand, not away from all the tourist stuff. How many videos do you see me on putting thirst traps on the internet, showing women, flexing about how great this woman is or that woman? I got 0 videos like that, because I understand that women, and I understand the importance of character. And I'm not going to sell people crap just to make money. If I know a guy is having difficulty here in America, because many of these women are just a pain in the ass. And our nature as men and women is to be together. Our nature is to be together as men and women. Nobody wants to be an island on themselves. And men certainly don't want to be sitting around watching this red pill content every day. Not my channel. It's not my channel. Is just me and you guys. But you sitting around watching that every day, and you're not living in your natural state as a man, which is to enjoy the company of feminine women. So now you're stuck, and I'm talking to you, and You're sending super chats and money to this red pill content creator, and he's giving you doom and gloom, but he's not trying to help you. But he wants you stuck so you can keep watching his channel, giving him money. But then after he gets your money, he tells you how you suck. And then he goes and enjoys the women with the money you gave him. So he's living his best life off of your back, but he's not trying to help you live your best life for you. Make that make sense. You know, it's like these game coaches. Yeah, I'm gonna teach you how to do this and do that. Really? Really? It don't look like it's working for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, man. So that's the problem I see with men's content, is that it doesn't help men to be free, to enjoy life, to enjoy women. Women. I don't encourage men to live without women. It's a bad idea. So what I would do is teach men how to pick better women. It is something that we have to do. It's just difficult when you're dealing with people, the way the world is right now and how people are. It takes a little bit more complicated. Quality, there's a lot of quantity, but very few quality in terms of character. So, and the only way, I think the only sure way of really seeing character, like for instance, if I see a woman and I meet a woman through social network, I can ask questions from people who know. I can watch her. Like if I meet a woman, I'm talking to her, right, through a social network. I'm not approaching her I'm not talking to her like somebody who's trying to date her. So I get to see how she interacts with people. I get to see what kind of conversations, because she's going to be herself around her friends and associates. She's going to say what she really thinks. She's going to give you a reflection into her character and who she is as an individual. If you meet a woman through social circle and just purely activities that you're in, you get to examine her and her mindset and her mentality, as opposed to meeting somebody who you're just cold approaching, or dating apps, or you just land somewhere and this type of woman just comes towards you. You don't have the opportunity to find out what that person's really about. And that's very dangerous in terms of not meeting quality people. The sad part about life nowadays is because of social media, people don't really come together as much in community events in the environment. The church is basically barren. You got retired feminists in the church, the Christian feminists, if that make any sense, modern women, mentalities, mindsets, and behaviors. We've created such a huge, horrible culture in terms of how we've allowed women, one gender, to go without any type of checks and balances and accountability. And that can create monsters. We have created some monsters. We have created some monsters, man. So it's like, what are we gonna do, right? So now it's like, okay, 10:46 on a beautiful Friday night, and we're just chilling now, because obviously the alternative many times is, go out on the town, do what? Most of the time we're just chilling right now. Kick back. Like, I'm chilling on a Friday night right now. I've been out all day long doing whatever I had to do for me. So now I'm just kick back, relax. Yes, I have the bachelor life. Yes, I have the options of having women over here tonight. But tonight I am chilled, and I'm here spending time with you guys, talking, just, whatever. Because again, a lot of things that's out here right now is just not my vibe. I love my peace. I love my peace. Unless a woman can add to my peace. Now, if a woman can add to my peace without being a burden, yes. But there's very few of them that do. There's very few of them that do, especially here in the West. And I'm certainly not going to be getting on anybody's plan. Me and the brother, Coach Knishin, I think sometime later this week, we're going to have a conversation about the Bill Belichick situation. You got that 24-year-old goofy acting up. Bill Belichick is simped out. But that's a whole different conversation. But with that being said, I appreciate you guys joining me tonight. Get showered up, get some rest, hit the gym in the morning, and give me a good workout. And that's another thing too, man. Exercise is critical. Exercise. I know I sound like a broken record, but in terms of therapeutic and mental health and just whatever, even if you're just walking in the park, I walk down at the river, nice, relax. That like really balances out my energy. That routine, just walking by the river, that's 3.6-mile course that I walk, relaxing in the morning. I may listen to some music, but that really gets my mindset going for the day, because I talk about no one's going to take care of you like you. And you want to protect your health as much, especially with the older guys like me and Tim, maybe XL and the rest of the guys. I don't know how old XL Pro is, but you want to be in your best health possible and try and avoid being on any medications at all, especially if you're going to be traveling and doing other things. You want to be in the best health possible, man. But your health is wealth. As you get older, you don't want to be high blood sugar, diabetes medication, and all this other crap. Man, that really, really, really ruin your life. Really, really destroy your life. You have some health problems as you get older. Like that quality of life that you enjoy is so critical, man. Your health is your wealth. You can always make money. But when you lose your health and you start getting sick and you start taking all these medications and stuff like that, ain't no amount of money in the world that can compensate for that, destruction in the quality of your life. So anyhow, peace and blessings to you guys. I'm out of here. You guys take it easy, man. Good night. Get some rest, guys. Take care, man.